Alright, so this guide is meant for assassins and how to defeat summoners in a 1v1. You'll find out during the commentary later that you're actually probably not going to be able to really kill them in the arena, and it's going to be more reliant on poking them with damage and running away, because they just have too many heals and too many AoE moves and dots that will just knock us out of stealth. So there's not that many options for actually going just balls out and killing them. So we're going to talk about our skill tree first, and then we'll move over to the summoner skill tree, and then we'll move on to a 1v1 that I did with a summoner and how I won that match. So we'll start with our skill tree. This is also my personal build that I had for this video. If you have a better one, go for it. I'll also mention some other ones that I've seen, some other builds that I've seen against summoners. So we'll start with mine. I always put 1 point into Spinal Tap because that's always a good skill just to reduce the focus cost by 1, especially when you're trying to get the stun locks going, or just it's just a nice stun to have 2 focus for. You're not going to run out of focus as quickly. So some people do not put a point in there. I personally do, just because you won't need any other points, because penetrates, defense, and deflect. They only have their dandelion, but if you're paying attention, you can just do the guard break on them, and it will stun them anyways for 2 seconds. So I put 1 point in here. It's up to you. For Heart Stab, always 4 points. Always 4 points, or the most points you can get down if this video is out by if the Hong Moon skill comes out, and people are still watching this guide, if it's still a viable guide. It reduces the cost of your Heart Stab by 2. It's always good for the burst. Always have it. Every guide I've ever seen has it for any class. Alright, so for Dark Side, or Dark Strike, excuse me, we're going to put a point in, and then we're going to put in a point into Lightning Pierce. And the only reason we're doing Lightning Pierce over Close Shave is because the cat can stun us in the animation for Close Shave. So we're actually going to move to more of a PvE build for just dealing raw damage to them. So that's the only reason we're going to choose Lightning Pierce over Close Shave, is because the cat can knock us out of that animation and stun us and get us on the ground. And that's no good. So I don't put any points into Swift Step. I mean, it's just nice to get in close to him and not daze him. So, I mean, I don't put any points in there. For Flash Kick, we're actually going to put 2 points in, so that's webbing. For every class ever, you should always have webbing in. It doesn't matter who you're facing, you should always have webbing in. There's no way to get out of it. It's easy to get around him, behind him, and then drop back into stealth. For summoners, for the stealth, our Tab Escape, you're going to put 2 points in. And the reason we're going to put 2 points in is because their cat can mount you on the ground, and they can hold you down for like a ridiculous amount of time, and they can just nuke you with Sunflower the entire time. So we always put 2 points in here for summoners. For other classes, you only need 1. So we're going to stick with 2 points for summoner. For Shadow Dash, we're going to stick 3 points in. It's just straight down because of the 6-second cooldown. It's a 6-second cooldown, means that since you have 6-second stealth, you can just drop back into stealth if you can get behind them. Super convenient, super nice, and plus you get that evasion bonus for 1 attack, and 10% evasion for 8 seconds if you fail. Which, I mean, if you fail, it's not bad. I mean, it's a free attack that they won't get on you. That could be a Sunflower nuke if they're trying to hit you with that, just out of nowhere. It could be anything. So I'll talk about this skill. I didn't personally put it in for this build on the commentary coming up for my duel, but I've seen people do this. So they'll put 2 points in, so it goes to Shadow Drain. And the reason is because the cat is kind of dumb, and it can't detect you in any way when you're in stealth, really, unless it does AoE moves. So I've seen guides where people will throw a shuriken on it, a shadow shuriken or whatever, and they'll run up to it and get back into stealth. And they generate focus from that. I've seen that. It always helps when you're trying to nuke down the summoner, do some damage on him. So I didn't personally put it in there, but I can see how that's viable for people. And also, if you have that, it might be a good idea to put more points into Spinal Tap even, because it reduces the cooldown of Shadow Drain by 6 seconds, so it will help you stay in stealth a lot longer. Alright, so we're going to move to Decoy. I don't put any points in Decoy, but when the Hung Moon skills come out, I could definitely see putting 4 points into it being a very good idea. The user is resistant to damage and status effects for 2 seconds on counter, so they can't just pop an AoE move right when you get into stealth. As of now, I don't believe this skill is out yet, so I didn't have it in. I don't have any points in there. Time Bomb, it's up to you if you want to put it in there. I don't have any preference to it really. Sometimes I'll throw it in there just to give them a little scare, because they have 6 seconds and I can kind of plan accordingly to it. In this commentary though, and the video coming up, I did not have it in there, so I mean it didn't affect the outcome really. Alright, so for Shadow Slash, for just about any PvP build, you're going to want to go down. And as of now, this Hung Moon skill is out. I didn't have it when I did this duel though against the summoner, but I would highly recommend it. It increases the range of the area by 5 meters forward, which is always nice. And it also inflicts a stack of poison for 10 seconds on knockdown. I mean, you can't ask for anything much better in a PvP situation. So I would do that, but for this build, I did not have that Hung Moon skill unlocked, which I was only Hung Moon level 2 when I did this, so I'm just building it accordingly to that. For Shadowless Step, I always stick 2 points down. That is so that it costs only 1 focus, and I re-enter stealth after I use it. Yeah, it has a 1 minute cooldown, but you're going to get 6 extra seconds of stealth, and it slows them, disables their charge. Super easy, super good move, I think. I use it all the time. Alright, for Poison Breath. Now this is a move that people dispute about all the time. I always go for Venom Swarm, normally, because it has a range of 16 meters, but it also has an area of 8 meters, and a cooldown of 18 seconds, which is pretty dang low. These other skills for Poison Breath have 1 minute, 45 seconds, and 45 seconds, so 18 seconds is not bad at all, and it goes 16 meters, and it disables their defense, which, I mean, they don't really have a defense, but it stacks poison on them, so when you can get your kick in, your hook kick, it will automatically send you back into stealth for 6 seconds, which can be pretty vital if you're trying to get away. For Lightning Rend, I always toss 2 points down in it, and that's for the 18-second cooldown. That's just nice, so that if you're trying to hit him, you'll see later in the video I do this once where I nuke him down, hit him with a Lightning Rend, and then kick him in the air, and while you're in the air you have 100% evasion. From your volley skill, it says increase evasion chance by 100, and same with our Thunderstruck, increase evade chance by 100. So that's always nice. I put it in there just because of the reduced cooldown, and it does an AoE move, so you can hit their cat with it as well. Alright, for the landmine, a lot of people might get a little upset with how I did this, but I put 2 points in for Ice Mine, and I'll demonstrate later how I use it very effectively. And I mean, you don't have to have the extra point in there because summoners are trying to get away from us. They don't have any charges, so I didn't throw an extra point in there, but I'll show how to utilize the skill if you're trying to face a summoner. Alright, so for this, always 2 points down, or 3 if you're going to go down here. It just reduces, resistant to projectiles for 10 seconds, and you regenerate focus. You can't get too much better than that with facing summoners. This, if you want to put an extra skill point down, it heals you for a little bit. I mean, if you can get away, that's nice. But in the end of the match, since you're going to be outlasting them and not necessarily killing them, it doesn't matter how much health you have in the end. It matters about how much damage you do. So personally, I don't put that in there, but I also don't put a skill point in this because the cooldown is just ridiculously long. On here it says 1 minute and 30 seconds, but in game, at least for the North America version, it's 1 minute long, and that's pretty killer. Yeah, it's a 10-second stealth, but so what? I mean, if you use your tab swaps and stuff properly, being in stealth shouldn't be a problem. And so I just stick with 2 points in here. It's nice to have that chi regeneration, and I don't know, it works for me all the time. Sneak attack, I always stick 2 points down, just because I'll show you guys. I believe in the video I demonstrate how this thing, if you can throw your throwing dagger at them, you can run all the way across the map, put down your lotus flower, and then you can just shoot over to them. It has no range on this thing, as long as they have that throwing dagger debuff on them. So it's really nice. It gives an automatic daze, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it dazes them for 2 seconds. You can kick them in the air, put on your poison, smack them up a bunch. Super convenient. I always put 2 points in that. So for Lotus Fury, I always put at least 2 points in there. Well, for summoners anyways, I put 2 points in there because it heals you for 2% of your health on a resist. You don't have to care about the damage dealt. I mean, it's not great at all or anything. It's nothing to brag about. But with summoners, they hit you like 20 times in a matter of like 2 seconds. So you're gonna gain a bunch of health back if they're trying to nuke you down with a bunch of moves. I've gotten upwards of like 26, 20, 28, 30% health just from this move if you're in a good spot or they're trying to hit you a bunch. And you're resisting damage the entire time because of the first skill point. Alright, so, and then the last couple points I put in were for Lotus Escape. And Lotus Escape, because I just put 4 skill points down because of this cooldown decreased by 15 seconds if you use it while you're not stunned or dazed. And that can be pretty big if you're trying to get away from them, because you can just shoot to the other side of the map really fast, and then you have a 15-second reduction on your cooldown. So I put it in there to get away from them, especially if you're in a route or something and you can't get away really, and you already blew your SS move, your backdrop move. That doesn't count. I mean, as long as you're not stunned or dazed, you get a decreased 15-second cooldown on it. So I like using it. Always 3 points at least, just so you can get out of the stuns and dazes, but I put 4 points down there and it worked pretty well. I do not remember where I put this last point in. Anyways, you can just choose where to throw that point in. It could be for the bomb, or it could be for ice mine or smoke. I think it was for smoke, actually. I believe I put it in there for the healing a little bit. But it didn't really come in that handy. So we're going to move over to the summoner tree real fast, and I'm going to show you some of their skills that they have to knock you out of stealth. And I've never seen anyone use this. This is their main left bumper move. That's annoying. It has the potential to be an AoE move for a range of 16 meters and an area of 4. So like that can be pretty annoying. You don't really see anyone use that, but it's always an option that they can use. So just be wary of it, that their main move that generates focus can shoot 16 meters and knock you out of stealth. So be careful about that. We'll move on to their main move that you always die from, most likely, and it's their sunflower move. This thing is ridiculous. It has a 2 by 16 meter range, which is ridiculous, and it does a ton of damage. It does a ridiculous amount of damage. So this can knock you out of stealth pretty easily too, because its range is ridiculous. Just watch out for it. Doom and Bloom is another AoE move. Just about all their moves are AoE once you think about it. It heals their cat. It heals them if they're in it. It's a pretty big move for them. It heals them a bunch. Watch out for it. It sucks to be caught in because you can't do anything about it. All right, so flying nettles. Excuse me. This move kind of sucks too, especially if they spec it like this, because it just goes on the ground and it can they maintain stealth while they do it. They can break defense, disables the enemy's defense. That doesn't really affect us at all. But this last point where it disables your charge for 6 seconds, that sucks, because you can't tab switch them and then go into a stealth from there. So that kind of sucks. They can tab it into a couple other ways where it just deals damage, just straight up damage. You can do it this way where it just refreshes the cooldown of Rumblebees, but most likely they'll either put 1 point in there or they'll put a couple points in there. Most commonly, I'd probably think they'd do about 1 for Assassins, because these other 2 don't really affect us unless they put 2 extra points in there. But that's a move to be wary of. You'll see it later on. I get caught in it for a second, and it's not fun. Alright, so this move, I mean, it kind of sucks. I mean, my friend uses it. He's a summoner. It's not fun to deal with, because they can put it around their cat, they can put it around them, and it's kind of like a little bubble, and it can put them into stealth and stuff. It's a move to be wary of. You'll see it later on in the commentary. It's not a, I mean, it's one of their moves you have to work around, but there's not that much you can do about it. Alright, so this lunge move, this move is probably like one of the worst moves, because its range is 30 meters, so that's a ridiculous range. That's almost doubles the range of anything that we have that has a range, and they can put 2 different specs in there, which can be, it stuns you for 2 seconds on 2 consecutive hits, which, I mean, if you can evade one of them, that's cool, because it won't stun you, but still, this thing can knock you out of stealth pretty dang fast, because it's like our Lotus. It's like our Lotus, what's it called? Lotus Fury. It ticks 5 times, or yeah, I believe it ticks 5 times, and yeah, over 5 hits, and it can knock you out of stealth. It doesn't matter where you are. If you backdropped or anything, the cat's gonna follow you until those 5 hits are through. So it sucks. Just be wary of it. They can slow you for 40% and disable your charge, or they can stun you if they hit you for 2 consecutive hits. Most commonly, I see this one. This stuns for 2 seconds on 2 consecutive hits, but you never know how summoners are going to spec into this thing. This is a dangerous move. This is their cat's grapple. He'll knock you to the ground and hold you there, which is where their nuke comes in, where they'll come in and nuke you with Sunflower. So really you gotta save your tab escape for when the cat grabs you, because you know when the cat grabs you that they're going to start shooting their Sunflower, and you're going to die pretty fast, and there'll be an example in there, and in the commentary, and you'll see it, and you'll see how much it sucks. Alright, so here's another one, Grasping Roots. It's just a small AoE move. They can make it so it slows you. I don't really see anything else. I wouldn't think that they would put it in any more points in here, but they can. Just be wary of it, because it slows you by 40% if they do put it in there, and it is an AoE move. Thorn Strike, just a lesser version of the Sunflower. It only goes 2 to 10 meters. Yeah, it's not. It's just another AoE move they can shoot at you. Alright, so Petal Storm. This is another big move that you have to watch out for, because it reflects projectiles, or it doesn't reflect them. They resist it. It's like our smoke that we have, except that theirs is 5 meters, and if they put points into it, it's 5 meters, and it can heal them if they put 2 points in. So, and theirs only has a 24-second cooldown. I think ours does too, actually. But they can spec it to where it has an 18-second cooldown or a 24. Our minimum is 24, and so you gotta watch out for this, because if you're gonna tab switch them and they throw this down, that sucks, because that pretty much just wasted your tab switch, which is like your most important move that you have in against any class ever. So watch out for this. I'll pause the video later on in the commentary, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's pretty faint, but you can see a buff that they get, especially if they're healing. Alright, so Seed Trap, we already went over that. Alright, so there is the Briar Patch. I believe we went over this. These are some of the heals that they have. I mean, it's not going to affect you at all, because you're just going to be poking at them. You're not going to be killing them, so they'll have points in there and they'll be healing themselves and their pets, but there's nothing you can do about it. Alright, so this hammer kind of sucks. It pretty much just dazes you. That's the only real spec I've seen for this move. It just dazes you for 2 seconds, but they can pin you on the ground after they do it. It's a good move to watch out for. So just watch out for that. But the hammer spin is the one that you need to watch out for, because it only has a 12-second cooldown, and it has an area of 4 meters from the cat. And I mean, if you're going to town on the summoner and then the guy's cat is right there, he's just going to push C, and then you get knocked out of stealth, and then he's probably going to root you and pin you to the ground and stuff. So no good. Watch out for this move. Surprise Gift. I've seen this spec before. It's not too common, but it's a 5-meter radius or a diameter. I think it's a diameter. It doesn't just specify, but it's pretty much just like a big bomb that goes off and it knocks you down for 3 seconds. So, and it only has an 18-second cooldown. So that's pretty ridiculous. Watch out for it. If they don't spec into this, they're probably just going to spec into this one, because it gives an extra 2-meter range, and this one, which, I mean, either way it works, but most commonly you'll probably see Surprise Gift, just because it's a huge range, low cooldown, and it knocks you down for 3 seconds, and the cat can just pin you to the ground. So watch out for that move. Lots of AoE moves that they have. Alright, so this is another move that a lot of assassins or even other classes don't really know about. It's Crouching Tiger. And the problem with this move is that the familiar takes 90% reduced damage. They curl up in a little ball on the ground, and you'll see them. And it's only for 5 seconds, but they heal 2% of its health every time it takes damage. So there's no move that you have that can do that much damage to the point where it's going to do more damage to the familiar than it's going to heal by that 2%. So there's no point in attacking it. You're just going to heal the cat up while the guy's shooting you with Sunflower or something. So watch out. And they can upgrade it to where it's 8 seconds. They normally don't do that though, because it also increases the cooldown. You normally just see 1 point put in here for healing up, and so it's only 5 seconds long. But this is very important to watch out for this move, because if you're trying to kill the cat and this move pops and you just keep trying to kill the cat's actually going to be healing from the damage you're doing. So you need to be very careful while watching that. Alright, so this move is the worst move ever. I've said that probably about like 2 moves already, but this move sucks because the cat will jump from 30 meters away right onto the caster, the summoner itself, and they can knock you down. And here's some of the things. Okay, so we'll go through. Users resistant to damage. Okay, whatever, they're jumping, so that doesn't really suck. Can be used while stunned. Blah. They can use it while they're doing it, while anything's being done to them. And then it can knock back enemies 10 meters or disable charge for 8 seconds, which, I mean, if they're facing a destroyer, that'd be good, but we're not a destroyer. So what it does for them is it pulls and knocks down enemies for 3 seconds and disables their defenses for 8 seconds, which, I mean, if they're gonna, you can't use your 2 on the ground to do a counter on them, or, you know, go into stealth. they're pretty much just going to mount you with this thing and then start sunflowering you to death. So, and they can jump from 30 meters away while doing it onto the casters. So if you see the cat's pretty far away, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be safe from the cat. They can still do their charge that's 30 meters away. They can do this that's 30 meters away and just jump and do an AoE move. And you pretty much at that point you'll be dead unless your tab's up, your tab escape. Alright, so now we're going to go to our commentary section of the battle that I had with one. So, here we go. You'll notice that I won the first match. I forgot to record that bit, but it doesn't matter. I won. I won by damage. I didn't kill him. So this second match, you're going to see everything that you're not supposed to do when you're playing it with an assassin, as an assassin. Some of the things I'll point out is getting caught in corners. Corners and walls are the worst thing for the assassin because you don't have open areas to run. They know that you're going to be in that confined space and they're just going to put down an AoE move and start shooting you, and you're going to be killed in about 30 seconds or less. So another thing is your lotus flower, your V. Don't put it down and just stay in that area, because you're going to notice that if I would have used it at any of these points in this first round, or this second round technically, the cat would have been 3 meters away and could have just knocked me down again. So make sure that your lotus is far away from you, and when you put it down at the beginning of the match. You put it down every time it's off cooldown. It's very important. So, alright, so I'll be stopping the video at certain points, especially within the first minute or so, just to point out things that you should not do, big no-nos that I did, because I wasn't paying attention and I was probably being an idiot or something. So we're going to start it, and there we go. I didn't put off my flower or anything. My bomb's not even spec'd in, but I still put it on him. Alright, so you'll notice that his cat isn't very far away from him. I'm just going to poke him with damage here. I'm going to do, I think I do about 17% of his health just in this like 2 seconds. But you got to be careful, because the cat, I run away immediately after doing this, because I'm pretty sure the cat's just going to come and jump and do the AoE move on top of him, but thankfully he doesn't. So he runs, and you'll notice that I put down the ice mine there. And the ice mine's super nice because nothing can get out of it. Nothing. No tab escape, nothing can. So right there, I just separated the cat for 8 whole seconds between the caster and his cat. The cat can't do anything. So this is why I like using the ice mine. It separates the cat from the summoner, makes it super easy to start just whittling down the summoner super easily, which of course I don't do because I'm doing horrible this round, and I'm also sitting around my flower, which is bad. So alright, so this is the next stupid moment I did. My tab switch wasn't up, and I ran straight towards him within his casting range. Wow, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. So there's pretty much nothing I could do. I could click C, I could roll back to right next to his cat with V, I could charge him, which he's probably just going to run back towards his cat. So instead I use my SS, and I drop back just to get out of the root so he can't start casting stuff on me. Alright, so coming up here, right there, you see all that? The cat just charged from like 30 meters away, and right now would have been a good time to use my lotus flower, but I'm playing horrible this round, so of course I'm going to hit my tab, and I'm going to waste my tab escape, and that's going to come back and bite me later, because the cat's going to come pin me down, and he's going to shoot me with sunflower a bunch. So use your Lotus V when you can. Don't just tab out every time. You can't just spam tab. It's a bad idea. You gotta plan ahead. So I tab out, Alright, so I throw down my flower again, and here you can see him. He's in stealth, but he's getting hit by this poison damage. It makes it a lot easier to see him where he actually is, even though you can just follow the cat. That's generally what I do if they're in stealth, but he happened to have a poison dot on him, and you can see him in stealth in that case. And that goes for anything, like another assassin. If he has a poison dot on him, you can see the damage being done to him. It makes it a lot easier to track him down. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so this is the worst thing that can possibly happen to anyone that's facing a summoner. You're pinned down. That tab escape that I used earlier isn't off cooldown. There's literally nothing I can do, and you're going to see my health just plummet at this point because he's going to hit me with Sunflower, and miraculously I still have over half my health when he's done. But this is the worst place you can possibly be facing a summoner. Yep. Yep, GG in the chat. I already knew the match was over at this point. Alright, so here you're going to see how walls really screw you over, and why you should never stand next to them, because even though I'm still behind him, he was too close to the wall where I couldn't use my dash, and I couldn't get behind him, and I couldn't stealth. So just stay away from the walls, and you're going to see me just spam my 1 as fast as I can, because I'm thinking that sometime within the next half a second I'm going to run into that zone where I'm going to be far enough distance away to where I can get behind him in stealth, but it's not going to happen, of course. Yep, so GG, rest in peace. There's no hope here. Wasn't even trying, just go make a sandwich or something because you're dead. There's no hope. Alright, so these are my skills that I had. I didn't know if I was going to need them to change them at all or anything, so just readied up. On to the next match. Now this match is going to be a prime example of what you should be doing facing a summoner. Alright, so here you're going to see that the cat's just going to charge at me, and it's going to do that 5 consecutive hit move like our Lotus Fury, and I'm going to get into stealth, but even though I'm in stealth, he's still going to continue to hit me and knock me into a stun. So it's very important that you kind of just take it at this point for this move, because you can waste your decoy, and then what? You're out of decoy and you're still stunned and you're out of stealth. So if you see this move coming, just accept your fate that it's going to happen, and move on with the match, because there's nothing you can do about it. Stealth, he still knocks me out of stealth. Alright, so you're going to see another prime example of the Ice Mine here. Alright, so yeah, I froze both of them, so what? I didn't isolate one. I'm still going to get a free stealth out of it, though. I can run down behind him super easily and just pop right back into stealth when they come out, and then I have free range. But you can see right there that he has his Petal Storm up. That means you can't get hit by projectiles, but your dash is not a projectile, so you still get a free stealth out of it. Alright, so right there, that was a perfect example of how your Lotus should be. It should be on the other side of the map. So he came and stunned me, looking pretty bleak, except because my tab was already blown, my tab escape. Just pop my V, I'm all the way on the other side of the map, away from the cat, right next to the summoner. So that's a great place to be. Just shoot for those moments, because those are the moments that are going to determine the match, whether you win or not. Alright, so right there you can see that the summoner's holding up what looks like a little dandelion. This dandelion is like the OP version of our little decoy. I mean, our decoy lasts, I believe, for a second and a half. Their sunflower lasts for 4 whole seconds, and it also puts them into stealth. And when they get hit, it makes them resistant to any damage for the first second and a half. So, I mean, once they go into stealth, you can't just nuke them again, because they're invincible. They have an iframe for the first second and a half. So I see this, I see my ice mines up, and I'm going to utilize this because he's on the defense right now, and I'm going to take advantage of that. I got a free stealth again because of it. Alright, you see there, I did a pretty wicked combo on him, but I didn't stay around for the entire time. Not even close. Like, over half my stealth was still available after I was hitting him with damage, but I still ran away because I thought that cat was going to do some AoE move back to the caster. I booked it out of there. I just poked him with damage, but I just still did plenty of damage with that combo, because you notice that I hit him with a 3. I got both the cat and the summoner at the same time, and same with the venom, the venom swarm. You can see that both have dots on them. The cat and the person both have the venom swarm on them. Excellent combo there, excellent execution, but just get out of there. You can see my V is about to come up. I'm going to go place that down, and then I'm going to go back to poking him with damage. And he's also about to put a Petal Storm. I'll pause it again, and you'll see that. See those little petals by him? They're really, really small. They're hard to notice sometimes, but those will deflect any of your projectiles, including your tab switch. So look for that when you're facing a summoner, because that tab switch could mean whether you win or lose. There we go for the freeze again. It's a free stealth. There's that move where the cat goes down, and if you hit him at all, he's going to start healing. They just kind of crouch down, they can't do anything else, but if you hit them at all, they're going to start healing up. So do not hit them there. Do not hit them at all, just start going for the summoner. However, you can play around with that, and you see that cat is like that, down in that crouching tiger position. You can tab switch him and stealth to him for free, and he will not take any damage from that. So if you want to get a free stealth off that, the cat's not going to have any problems with it. He's just chilling down, doing whatever, and he's down with you tab switching him and then going into a stealth. So play around it if you want to. Just make sure you do not hit with him. Do not hit him at all, because it will start healing him. So you see the flower on me right there? That's the flower that sucks. The best way to do this, to get rid of that flower, is to just run away, because that flower I'm pretty sure it has a range or something, because if I use SS and I turn around and use my lightning bolt, my right bumper, and lightning bolt away, it will go away after outside of a certain range from the summoner, it seems like. So just GTFO and it will go away, and then you can go back into fighting, because that flower will knock you out of stealth every time, because it ticks every 2 seconds. So make sure that you just bolt when that gets put on you, because that can knock you out of pretty important stealth. Alright, so there's a good example of why webs are pretty important. I mean, you can throw them up, they can't get out of it, and I'm about to get a free stealth out of it because I can just hop right behind them before they even get up. You gotta be careful with some classes though, because like Kung Fu Master, when they're on the ground they can just do like a swirling kick. I'm not sure what the move's called, but if you go into stealth when they're doing that, they will knock you out of stealth immediately. So I knew summoners really don't have that kind of move, so I'm just gonna hop into stealth right behind him. Alright, so right here, if you look right there, you can just see an outline of the summoner, and what he's trying to do right now is run away and revive his pet just for the last little bit and try to nuke me down or something. So if you didn't know that, you can see them. They can see you if they pay close attention, but it's very important that you keep an eye on summoners when they go into stealth, especially if they don't have their cat, because they can go to the other side of the map and revive them. It's very important to keep an eye on them. You're going to see that I'm pursuing him while he's in stealth, and he's not going to get away with it. At this point, I'm just freezing. I know I'm going to win. Just destroyed him. And just playing around with my food at this point. I know that he's done for. And right there, you're going to see that green patch. That green patch just hit me out of stealth. That's the green patch that's going to slow you down. You can see that I have the slowdown debuff. It'll knock you out of stealth. It's not a very noticeable thing unless you're paying attention, really. Just be careful. Do not stealth into that, because it will knock you out of stealth. And if they have it spec'd in, you'll get slowed down. Alright, so let's see how bad I destroyed him. Alright, so there's the score. One of us did that much damage, obviously him. So we're going to see how much extra damage I did just from poking him, running away, poking him, and running away. Alright, so you're going to see that I did almost like 5.5 times as much damage, more damage than him, excuse me, just from poking him, running away. You have to be patient when you're facing summoners, because they might be able to produce more damage than us and hold us down longer, but we decide the pace of the match. The assassins do. We can go into stealth. We're the predators here. They're the prey. We gotta hunt them down. We determine where we strike and where they go. We determine that. So you gotta pay close attention to it. A lot of their moves, like the Petal Storm, you can't be throwing your shurikens in there, because you're just going to get a wasted move. You can't throw your tab switch in there, because you're probably going to lose at that point, because you're just going to be running away for 18 seconds while it comes back up, and that cat's just going to charge you. So it's very important that you pay attention, you're patient, and you realize and assess the situation. Alright, so that's the guide that I have for you today. Just some pointers. If you have any comments, leave them down in the comments, obviously. Alright, hope you have a better time fighting summoners now.